From the 1940s to the 1980s, the federal government focused on first 20% of household income and then 30% of household income before taxes, and it also focused on low and moderate income households. The federal government hasn't gone back to that, and it doesn't really have targets that are associated with who needs what housing, where, and at what cost. So it's not actually one tool, it's several tools. The first tool, we break down housing need by income category, household size, and priority population, like Indigenous household or single parent family. So that's our housing need assessment tool, and it's been adopted by the federal government and is being used by municipalities all over Canada to assess housing need. Our second tool, which we're really focusing on right now, is a land assessment tool. And we think that certainly a lot of housing need can be met by non-market housing on government land. So we've mapped government land in 12 cities, and we hope to be doing a little bit of further work on how we can get rents down to, say, $1,000 a month, which is what most low-income people can afford, a maximum of what they can afford. It's actually closer to $400 a month if you're on social assistance. Internationally, it's been understood for many years now that the market will never meet the needs of the lowest income quintile, so 20% of the population. I'd say at this point, market housing isn't going to meet the needs of the next quintile, moderate income population. So that's about 40% of households. And for that, we need to start off with the prices people can pay, and then non-market housing, government land, financing, taxation, all of those things should be working towards the housing that the people most in need most. Absolutely, market housing is 95% of the housing market. It's been starved through differential treatment of apartment buildings, whether it's with property taxes or it's with taxation breaks, which are much more for homeowners. We need to build a whole new generation of secure rental with rental rates, but market rental as well as non-market rental. From the 1940s to the 1980s, the federal government focused on first 20% of household income and then 30% of household income before taxes, and it also focused on low and moderate income households. And that was true whether it was building homes after World War II, building non-market, public housing in the 1960s, or building co-ops and community housing in the 70s and 80s. The federal government hasn't gone back to that, and it doesn't really have targets that are associated with who needs what housing, where, and at what cost. So that's where it would need to start, and unfortunately for the last 6 years of the National Housing Strategy, it hasn't started there. Well, the good society starts off with, from a basic sort of Maslow perspective, in having a secure place to lay your head and have your possessions. And it continues into welcoming supportive communities. Because I'm an urban planner, I talk about things like walkable communities, being close to people you love, and a life of dignity. So I think a good society would recognize the fact that we're building on stolen Indigenous land and would provide the basic preconditions of a good, decent, dignified life, which again, to me, starts with a home.